Hey, peace, reflections, good energy to all. So in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit about, um, just energy and how, I mean, again, a lot of this may seem very repetitive, and I know a lot of y'all who watch, my channel, are in the are in the know of what's going on and stuff. So this may be, very repetitive for a lot of you, but repetition does work, and you keep on repeating good things, you keep on practicing your passions, and you continue to get better at them. And, this is also video documentation for future, for the future, for anybody who comes along, and for my own self to better learn what's going on here, my place in it, and, the also the motivations of the other people, the people behind the curtain. So with that being said, I've been doing a lot of research on a lot of facts and numbers and, patterns that I see, and I would like to, I'm working on creating a bigger presentation that I can share with y'all that can really kind of pinpoint everything in a clear and organized manner, but I'm not quite there yet, so I just wanted to make a quick video and just talk about a few of the, more disturbing facts that I've come across, just to kind of, I don't want to scare anybody or get too doom and gloomy, but just to really bring some serious awareness as to, living in these Babylonian cities, like the people that are controlling them, like what their motive really is. Because I don't think people really have a true grasp of how sick these people really are. And even, just to give some references, I want to start getting more into references and, actual information that's available for all of us to look up and research if you're so willing. But Mel Gibson, Braveheart act, I mean, we all know, most of us know who Mel Gibson is. He was recently on the Graham Norton show, and he's, he's pretty much telling the public how, this is really disturbing and disgusting, so just a fair warning, but he's telling the public how the Hollywood elite, their main commodity or their main currency is not money. It's little kids, it's babies, it's children, and this is their gold. And it's the energy that they receive from these little kids after they abuse them, and either they continue to abuse them, they use them as their sex slaves, and they trade them back and forth with one another, and then they can also fracture their minds, which then allows them to inject different personalities that literally turns them into a sex slave and a different person, a completely different fractured personality from what they were originally born into. But yeah, this is their currency. This is their energy. They abuse these children, and then a lot of times they'll abuse them to a point of a high amount of fear and adrenaline, and that adrenaline that's running through their body, that's going through their mind, and all this, it creates a type of chemical that when they're killed, these beings, whatever you want to call them, can literally harness it or suck this type of energy out, and it's like a high form. It literally is like a high. It gives them an energy boost. It gives them a rush. It gives them a thrill. It gives them sustenance to keep going. It gives them power. They're stealing souls. I mean, this is some really sick stuff. And, this is Mel Gibson, who is probably one of the biggest actors and directors and producers. I mean, he made Passion of the Christ. He did Braveheart. I mean, he's a big dog in Hollywood, and one of the reasons why he's able to say these things and do these things is because he has made so much money from Passion of the Christ that he doesn't need to follow the norm of Hollywood. He's his own entity. He's his own god in Hollywood, essentially. And from what he's witnessed, he's now sharing. He's being, I give my applause to Mel Gibson for doing that. I mean, that's a very risky endeavor to do, and it's something that a lot of people have suspected for a long time, and I think he's probably the biggest celebrity to come forth and straight up tell people that this is what the Hollywood elite are doing, is they are kidnapping kids and feeding off of their energy, and that's their main currency. It isn't money. They don't care about the money. They have plenty of the money. They want our energy, and this is what kind of gets me back to the main purpose of this video, is to re-emphasize how important your energy is and how badly the beast wants it. and how everything inside of these cities is designed to strip you of your good energy and replace it with bad energy, or lower vibrational frequencies energy. And by getting into nature, by getting away from these cities and getting into the wild, into nature, you're going to put yourself in a place of higher vibrational frequencies that's going to leave you, um, you're basically going to be helping to propel the beast away. Because anytime you're a high vibrational being, any type of a parasitic entity is not going to be able to be around you. They're not going to be able to stay inside of your light. You're going to be emitting such a powerful aura field of love and positivity that it's going to scramble their brains, and then they're not going to want to be around you. But as long as they keep us in these cities, as long as they keep us in these repetitive patterns, as long as they keep us eating poisonous, heavy metal induced, addictive, poisonous foods, and as long as they keep us taking all these pharmaceutical medications and pharmacy sorcery prescriptions, as they're prescribing a script, a set script that sorcerers made to keep us in a spell, then we're going to be feeding them. We're going to be giving them their energy. We're going to be leaving ourselves open for infiltration. And that's exactly what's going on here. But I wanted to bring up some, hardcore facts. And that's why I'm wearing the glasses right now, is because I need to. My eyes are definitely not meant for this world, at least the way that it's designed in these cities and stuff. I can't read at all without. Anyway, so what I came to find is that in the U.S., 800,000 children are reported missing every year. That's about 2,000 children a day. Gone. Just gone. And in Britain, there's 250,000 kids go missing each year. I mean, this is insane. This is highly organized. This is highly sought after. Sex trafficking is one of the largest growing, criminal industries right now, or at least that we know of. Maybe we didn't know much about it in the past, but we're starting to learn more about it because people like Mel Gibson and others are starting to come through, and it is the information age, so all is being revealed. But that's a crazy number. 800,000 children are reported missing. That's about 2,000 a day. And you got to think about a kid. Like, if you're living in the cities, like your kid, if it really was just a kid wandering away, like somebody else would find him and return him to you. No, these kids are being abducted and kidnapped and taken and being used for these sick elites to do these sick freaking rituals that are feeding them power and killing our power, essentially. They're taking these powers from these kids, they're sucking it up, they're like juice and a drug, and then they're using that sustenance to continue their evil empire. And then they're continuing, and then their reward is getting these kids, and that's how they get their jollies off. It's really disgusting. But again, so and this goes back to how living in these cities is support. I mean, even living in the cities, you're going to leave your kid open. This is how they are able to abduct kids, because they do it in the cities. They have vans, they have people, they have buildings, they have places. If you look at anything into Pizzagate, the whole Pizzagate scandal and the Podesta thing is ridiculous. Even Ted Gunderson, the former FBI director, he quit the FBI, or I don't know if he quit or retired, but since quitting and retiring from the FBI, he spent his time and his own money trying to help these parents figure out what happened to their kids. And what he found was that underneath a school, this is all on YouTube, you can check it out, Ted Gunderson, I think it's Gunderson, what they found is that, like, essentially there were tunnels underneath the school that were made that led right up into the little kids, or right into the school, and the tunnel led, I think, directly to, I don't know, it might have been a Masonic church, I think, or it could have been a house, but then that house had like a helicopter pad and then they found there was also like a mansion up in the hills that had a helicopter pad that was left abandoned with a lot of satanic symbolism. But once the rumors started to circulate around, and once people started paying attention to these kids and what was going on, because the kids started drawing stuff. They started drawing all these sick, demonic pictures and things. And the parents were like, what's going on here? Like, why are my kids drawing people getting their heads cut off and all these adults watching them with all these scary masks on and stuff? And that was enough to provoke that was enough for Ted Gunderson to have interest and decided to investigate this. And what he found was, and he actually hired archaeologists, and He got a whole digging crew, and he found that yes, I mean they filled in tunnels. Essentially, they did a very good job of filling in tunnels. They even left a few things and came up with some lies to cover it up. But they found tunnels that were leading all the way up into the school, and it's just sick, man. And then he actually brought all this evidence to a judge with all these different things, all these different suspicions, all these different probable causes to, search these places and these people, and the judge just dismissed him. And the same thing with the Podesta, the Pizzagate scandal. I mean, there's a lot of attention to it, but um, still, how blatantly they were advertising pedophile and raping little kids and doing these things and these gay orgies and stuff like that. Uh, it's extremely blatant, and I mean they were even very like brass about it. They would show on Facebook. They would have pictures of their kill rooms and their little sick like pizza symbols that are known, and then you go onto the FBI known pedophile symbols, and it completely correlates with the FBI pedophile symbols. So I mean the connections are there. The connections are right in front of our faces, and but because the beast is the one in power now, it's not going to prosecute its own. It's not going to prosecute its own, and this is what is driving. This is what boils my blood, is to know that all these people go to jobs, they work these jobs, and most of these jobs are not serving humanity, are not serving the best interest of humanity. A lot of these jobs are just helping to keep people in a perpetual state of stagnation or even downward spiralation. So it's doing no good. And not only is it not doing any good, is it's actually doing bad, because you're supporting this beast and you're killing your love energy and you're leaving your children open to being kidnapped and abused. I mean, and then you go into the like Mel Gibson saying, I mean, and then, okay, we know these kids are using these, we know these Hollywood people, these elites are using children as a drug. They're killing them to feed off of their fear and their innocent blood. And a lot of times they abuse them sexually first. That's just, that's their fix. That's what their fix. And then they go and they make all these sick movies that are subjectively messing with the mind, that are putting the mind into a lower frame of frequency. All this violence, all this sex, all this drugs, all this glorification of money, all this action, all this drama, all this glorification of the American system is casting a spell on us. And then even cast. What does a movie have? It has a cast, a crew, a cast that is written, that has a script that it follows, a script like prescriptions. They're prescribing these movies. The movies are prescriptions for the mind, and they're casting spells on us. And we watch these movies, and a lot of us watch these movies out for one at a young age, not knowing anything about this. We just know, oh, we see guns, we see a hero that looks mighty and tough, and you see all these things that are new to us, and we don't know. And at the same time, we're usually eating a lot of bad foods as children, and when you're a child, you're very sensitive, so you're absorbing everything that you're around. So that means all the negative energy that's around you, that you go to school and that you witness, the teachers, whatever they're feeling, and whatever the rest of the classmates are feeling, and then plus all the cafeteria food that's poisonous. And then a lot of the times, parents, they just continue to feed their kids fast food because it's easy and convenient, or they'll get freezer food, which is pretty much the same. I mean, it's not as bad, but it's pretty much the same thing. And on top of that, you start watching these violence or over-sexual, or just, even just movies that put your mindset, your antenna, your attention into following this system, into wanting to be a part of this system, into wanting to fit into this system, which is satanic, and which has a agenda to keep you at a lower vibrational frequency, and pretty much you're going to end up hating yourself and hating your neighbors and emitting negative energy and letting demons inside of you, and then you yourself turn into a demon. It gets deep, man. And then if you look at the New World Order's agenda, I've done a little bit of research into it. Basically, their whole thing is they create chaos. They create the chaos. That's something that they're pushing, the chaos. All this violence, all these drugs, all these heavy poisonous foods are creating a lower self vibration within all of us. So when you have that lower vibration, you're easy to snap on people. You're easy to steal. You're easy to indulge. You're easily to do all these vices. which is chaotic, which does create chaos, which creates a lot of friction. It's not synchronicity, it's not loving, it's not togetherness. It's a fighting, it's a competition, it's a constant feeding fest, frenzy. And then that just continues to escalate and escalate and escalate and escalate. And then they get people weak and dumb and stupid and dependent on this system. And then when the time's right, when things are right, and they feel like that's at that boiling point, they're going to pull the plug on the system. People are going to go crazy and then the chaos and the riots are really going to start to happen, all premeditated by the New World Order. And then they come in as the saviors and put us into FEMA camp because we can't take care of ourselves. So then they turn into the saviors, when the whole time they were the ones designing this, pushing this. And, this is their agenda. And then once we're in the FEMA camps, then they're going to start putting chips inside of our bodies and controlling our minds, and we're essentially going to be slaves all over again. So, again, getting out of these Babylonian cities, getting back to nature, moving. I really feel like, we're so dependent on cities. We have to have a little bit of city life. But the smaller cities, like cities that are under 50,000 people or even less, like smaller is the better. And if you can really go off grid on your own, that's even better. But that's the only real sanctuary there is. Not only is it going to be a sanctuary, it's going to be a salvation for your soul. And not only is it going to be a salvation for your soul, but you're also going to be able to be literally like a spiritual warrior. You're going to be able to vibrate an energy that's going to at least help all of those around you and help the earth in general. You're going to be being a human being. You're going to be in your righteous state. You're going to be doing the divine mission by vibrating that good love energy, which is what we human beings were originally, I feel we were originally meant to do, is to take care of the earth, love ourselves and each other, and just vibrate that higher vibrational frequency, and to be that. And we're not doing it. We're doing the exact opposite of that, and it's having really, really bad negative effects on everything. And then you start looking into more statistics. It's like the credit card debt is $1.03 trillion. The typical U.S. household has $134,643 in debt. And then there's over 7 billion humans on the planet, and 8 men, what is that? 8 men own as much as 3.6 billion people, of the poorest people. 8 men own as much as the poorest 3.6 billion. These are some astronomical numbers. The people in charge do not want to help us. They do not have our best interests in store. All these jobs we're doing are supporting their government. The politicians are corrupt beyond measure. The movies are casting spells on our minds and our souls, on our children. Our children are being kidnapped, abducted, abused, and killed and used as drugs for sick people, for sick pedophiles who do not get prosecuted, who, even when they're convicted, some of them do, when they step too far out of line, they have to be put into jail, because the beast has to operate in disguise. It has to operate in deception. It cannot be too evident until that moment is right. This is why it appears, that's why it does a very good job appearing to be the savior. That's why America appears to be the land of the free, and this war on terrorism, we're the good guys going in there taking out Saddam and Osama and all these things. Even though there were no weapons of mass destruction, even though Iraq now is worse than it was before we got there, and you have all these soldiers coming back with horrible PTSD syndromes that is unheard of, and they're going crazy. There's more veterans killing themselves and living on the streets than ever. It's all twisted. It's all backwards. And they're still convincing the public to a lesser or greater degree that they're the good guys, that there still is hope for America. And this is holding on to something that's done. We need to move on. America was founded with some good intentions, and that's all good and dandy, and we can take the good stuff that it started out as. We can keep that and move on with that, but we have to also realize that you got to this is almost like an ego thing. Like, people don't want to admit that things have gotten this bad, and they really have. And then the proof is in the pudding. People are sick all over the place. And just the fact that you have all these fast food restaurants in the midst of an obese epidemic, This is wrong. If the government really had our best interests at heart, they would be like, no, you cannot have fast foods gone. We're getting rid of fast food. They make heroin illegal, they make meth illegal, but they allow you to eat poisonous food, and they're profiting off of it. $22.82 billion in revenue for 2017. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of energy we're putting into these things. And then you look at the jobs. The average American makes $49,460. That's a lot of money. That's actually, if you look at like the worldwide, the global stage, that earning that much money kind of puts you in the top echelon of the rich. This is why America's a trip. I mean, there's a lot of bad in America, but at the same time, I feel like America also has a lot of, it's the one nation I feel that really has a good chance at reversing a lot of these effects. The middle class Americans, and the poor too. But I mean, the middle class has the resources. It does have the resources, and it could have the mindset to be like, yo, we're gonna take all of our money, all these things that we have, all these tools we have, and we're just gonna, this is why I've always thought like a mass type of camping and national forest movement, and learning to grow our own food and to rent land where we can and grow as much organic food as we can is the best way to start the system. And if all of the middle class came together and left the big cities and started camping, like I watched a documentary on the rainbow gathering. Like there's 50,000 of these people that just go into the national forest, camp out for like a summer, and they live off the land. They use deadfall to build things. They recycle everything they use. I mean, they have a real good blueprint for, and they don't even really have rules. They just all kind of like, they're on the same frequency. They just vibe together. They take care of one another. They spread peace. They spread love. They spread understanding. They spread acceptance. I mean, just seeing that sparked my mind. It's like, wow, that's a really beautiful movement. That's just 50,000 of them. And then now you can't camp on national land for free. You just got to bring your own stuff. You got to take care of yourself. And they clean it all up. I mean, the possibility is there. We don't have to be in these cities right now. This is my point, is like right now we still have the freedom, we still have the ability to detach, to leave, to depart. And we can regain our divinity, we can regain our true strength, we can regain our higher vibrational selves and start broadcasting that and sharing that with the rest of the world. And I feel if enough human beings come together, then that in itself will be able to generate such a movement that will actually push the beast, the people, they won't be able to live near us. Like our vibrational radiancy will be so strong that it will literally push them away. They're going to have to leave. It's going to drive them nuts. It'd be like you being around 10,000 insane people. It would drive you nuts. Okay, but you can flip that on the other side. If you have 10,000 people who love each other, and you got a few hundred men who are just sick and doing all these sick things, and they're surrounded by all this love, it's going to drive them crazy. They're going to have to leave. And that's also cause and effect, because since we let them in by not taking care of ourselves, by not following the laws of Mayat, we allowed them in. That doesn't mean they have to be here forever. As soon as we wise up and rise up, they gotta leave. They got to. It's a mathematical equation. So, this video has gone on a little long, and I don't have all the points, connected as well as I would like to. And I got to get my bigger whiteboard because I got a small one right now, so I can't really write everything down as well as I'd like to. And I know, I'm kind of rusty at speaking. I don't really communicate much with anybody, like, right now. So speaking for me is kind of strange. So, I know my words, I kind of jumble them up and use different words and stuff like that. So I apologize. But, I just take back your energy, man. Love yourself. Stop eating fast foods. Eat good. Get back to nature. Spread the truth. Do the research. Look into what Mel Gibson is saying. I mean, he has no reason to lie about this stuff. He has everything in the world that he needs. And he's going against the industry that literally made him rich. So, and there's others too. There's a lot of others. So I encourage you to do the research, learn the knowledge, and apply the knowledge to your life. All right? And with that being said, I love myself, and organize a good day. All right.